Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-host Cody Tanner. Cody, how you doing this fine Tuesday evening?
Victory Tuesday.
Victory Tuesday.
It's a Victory Tuesday. We had our game on Saturday, 6:30. We'll get to talk about that for sure. But James, I'm doing fantastic. Work was good today. High energy, a lot of fun. James, how are you today?
Good, man. First day back in action out on the route, fully functional again. Looks like the knee's doing pretty good these days. So very happy about that. Also, you know what would make me really happy?
What would make you happy?
The downloads have been really trending up. So I really appreciate all you listeners and viewers on YouTube. If a couple of you would just smash that subscribe button, just go ahead and do that. That way you get the downloads right away. You don't have to go looking for it. It comes to you every week. So feel free to do that.
Yeah, do that. Also, let us know you guys are listening. We'd love to talk about you guys and what you guys are thinking about the season. Let us know. If you guys message us anything on social media, I mean, literally anything Steelers related, we'll talk about it on the show. We would love to hear from you guys and hear what you think about the preseason, about the season moving forward. What are your predictions? What are your concerns? Are you thinking Jaylen Warren's going to beat Najee Harris for the starting job? You never know. There's things to discuss. But feel free to message us or comment on the videos if you're watching on YouTube or listening. Leave those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts as well. We look forward to hearing from you guys and being able to talk about you guys and your points of view and things on the show. So absolutely. We thank you guys a lot for listening and watching. But we're going to talk Steelers football now. James, like I said, we had a game at 6:30 on Saturday, at least our time, 6:30 our time.
Eastern.
For some of you guys in other countries, maybe it's another time. It's how it works. But we have a lot to talk about, James. First off, it was a victory. That's important.
Yes. And before the actual game itself, one of the neat things that we found out last couple of days of training camp there before it broke, we've been asking, will we see Spencer Anderson do anything other than play guard and tackle because he had so much experience at center in college. He started practicing at center. I was excited to hear that just because Nate Herbig's out with that shoulder injury right now. We don't know how long he's going to be. And honestly, I wanted to see somebody who feels like they have a pretty decent chance of making the roster get a chance to show whether or not it's a position he can handle.
Yep.
I feel like it might be a really good fit for him, and I really want to know pretty badly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm excited to see what happens there. Spencer Anderson getting the snaps at center at camp is very important, and I'm excited. I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of that this week in this week's game that happens on Thursday. And also for you guys, just as a heads up, we will be recording the next podcast with our final 53-man roster predictions on Friday. So that episode will be out Friday night, Saturday morning. You guys will see that. So keep an eye open for that and let us know your 53-man roster prediction. If you want to send it to us before the show, we'll absolutely talk about it on the show. So send those in for sure. But James, Steelers versus Bills, everyone thought this game, at least at the beginning, was going to go one-sided because the Bills are the Bills. The Bills are, the AFC championship team that's going to try and take it there again, even though they seemingly can't get past Kansas City. But they're the team to beat out of the North area. They're not in the AFC North, but they're up here with us. They're right down 90. And holy crap, did our number ones come to play.
Yeah, man. All I was hearing from people, even my my stepfather-in-law, who's not a huge football guy, but he got into football the last couple of years, decided the Bills would be his favorite team.
Unfortunate.
Can't blame him. Yeah, can't blame them. They're a very good team right now, so I get that. But he was talking a whole bunch of trash right before the game, and I just let it slide. And I really wanted to call him as the game was going on and be like, you really want to talk about that again? Let's talk about that again. Let's talk about how the starters did versus the starters. And that's where we're going to start, is the starting quarterback. He only got 2 series this week. He got 1 series week 1 against Tampa Bay, had 148 and change quarterback rating.
Yep.
In this game, he had 149 even quarterback rating. Took him right down the field twice.
We can't give him credit for the one. We'll get to that.
Well, I mean, he completed 2 passes before that play happened.
That's fair. I wouldn't say he took him down the field. but he did his role when he had the opportunity to. I'll say that.
He was the general.
And then a one-play drive touchdown to Pat Freiermuth on a fantastic in double coverage, split the guys, perfectly thrown ball. For those of you that aren't aware, beep, 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 Kenny is he. Kenny is the dude. Kenny's that guy. You know the meme where it's like, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that. Kenny's that guy, pal.
Yeah. Kenny seems to be the guy, pal.
But yeah, and then so you'd look at the guys that came in after Mitchell and Mason. They didn't do anything crazy noteworthy. I think they both threw interceptions. I know Mitchell did. I don't remember if Mason did or not, honestly.
I don't think either one did in this game.
I'll pull it up while
Mitch
we're talking.
Mitch had one in the first game, but I don't think he threw one in this game.
Well, I'll pull it up while we're talking. But again, neither of them, in my opinion, are making INTs are making a big push for them to be like guaranteed second string at this point. I really don't think that either of them have locked up that, in my opinion. I don't think Mitch hasn't done much of anything, in my opinion. And Mason's kind of staying status quo. And Mason could have one good game, and I'd be like, all right, he needs to be the backup. Like, he's proven himself, but he hasn't. And unfortunately, I don't think you can get that out of the third and final game of preseason. I think it's going to stay Mitch Mason just because that's what it's been. But I'm not comfortable, in my opinion, with either of them as backup quarterbacks right now. I'm comfortable that they won't straight up destroy a season. Or destroy a game, I should say, if they come in late in a game, if Kenny gets injured. But I wouldn't want them in for extended periods of time this season, I should say. I got that backwards.
I think that either one of these guys, if you have to go with them for an extended period of time, are good enough to win half of the games. But I wouldn't say that they're good enough to win more than half of the games. They're going to make too many mistakes. We saw out of these two in this game, Mason's completion percentage was actually, Mitch's completion percentage was pretty good. But it was a lot of checkdowns, a lot of dump offs to the running backs. His first one was a running back screen. It went for 12 yards, but it's a throw behind the line of scrimmage. And then when they did get the touchdown pass, that was when they started at like the 12-yard line, and they had 2 pass interference penalties that reset it. It was like the 8th play that was a something and goal when they finally got the touchdown pass. So it wasn't even a driving the ball down the field kind of thing. That wasn't what happened on that. So neither one of them put up a great performance. There was a ball that Mitch threw on the sideline, a deep bomb to Calvin Austin, and I was like, all right, here we go. But he put it so far up in the air that the safety got over there. And luckily, it looked like it was a little bit out of bounds, and it was a little overthrown too. Because if it was on target, Calvin was getting crushed, man. That was a hospital ball. So you got to see that a little bit more on a line.
Also, excuse me, Mitch did not throw an interception. No interception for either of them. I don't know if you said that or not. But Mason
correct.
didn't.
I did say that.
Okay, I thought you said Mason did. Yeah. So again, that's promising that neither of them threw interceptions, but I still don't feel overly confident. I mean, when you look at the numbers, granted, Kenny only had 3 passes. He averaged over 10 yards per completion. Mason 7.5, and then Mitch 6. Those will get first downs when you get those completions, and luckily they all had decent completion percentages this game. But again, the Bills did not seem to be the Bills this game, or should I say Pittsburgh just seemed to outshine them. I don't want to take anything away from Pittsburgh's win or the play style of the number ones, but I will say that the Bills did not seem to play to the caliber that we've seen them play in previous years.
No, and it wasn't due to a lack of personnel on the field because Matt Milano started and played into the second corner. Both starting safeties, which both of these guys are Pro Bowlers, were out there. There was a lot, if not all of the starting defense that was out there, and Pittsburgh went right down the field on them twice. In fact, after that, they pulled the whole starting offense and were still able to get some points on the field. So, I mean, by the time Pittsburgh stopped scoring, it was 27-0. And they had pulled Mason Rudolph and brought in Tanner Morgan at that point. So the Bills didn't start scoring until the fourth quarter of this game, which really says something about not just the starting offense, but those second and third string guys still being able to move the ball a little bit, at least get some field goals on the scoreboard there, you know?
Yeah. So again, the quarterbacks, we know who's the guy, trying to see who's going to get that second job, assuming it's going to be Mitch and Mason in that order. Let's move on to the running backs. There's not even really anything to say about anybody rushing the ball, in my opinion. outside of Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren, at least for this game, you think there's one other guy. That's fine. We'll get there.
One other guy. Yeah.
But Jaylen Warren, one rush, 62 yards, touchdown. Boom.
And on this play, too,
Deontay.
So much credit has to be given to all the people blocking on this play.
100%.
Dan Moore absolutely sealed his guy. You see James Daniels from the right guard position get all the way around and get the second level, get a linebacker. Mason Cole was lined up dead up against a defensive tackle and has a reach block, gets all the way around him and positions himself so that he'd have to go through him to get to Jaylen Warren. And then we see Isaac Siamalu with an awesome block also. So they opened a gigantic hole. Great job. Get to the second level. And then, like you said, Deontay Johnson just stays persistent. You don't have to do a punishing job as a wide receiver blocking. You just kind of got to stay in the way. And he did a great job of staying hands on that corner, and he never got a chance to even try to tackle Jaylen Warren. And then he just had to beat an all-pro. That's all. And he did. Jordan Poyer, he couldn't get him.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know if Jordan Poyer took a bad angle or didn't realize that Jaylen Warren's actually a little bit fast.
I think he took a bad angle. I think it was a combination. Yeah. He took a bad angle because he wasn't aware of how fast Jaylen Warren actually is.
Yeah. So, people look at him and they think, oh, this is a thicker, short dude. He's probably not that fast. Turns out Jaylen Warren's kind of fast.
He's got quick legs.
Yeah.
They may be thick, but they move.
He might be kind of like Jerome Bettis. He ain't fast, but he's kind of quick.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you what, two of Jerome Bettis could have fit through the hole that offensive line made. I'll tell you that now.
Yeah, this incredible job blocking by all five of those guys we mentioned right there. Just did an excellent job. When you have that many guys executing that well, you're going to find some nice size holes. So excellent job there. Jaylen Warren did everything he needed to on that. At that point, Najee and Jaylen were done for the day. And then I think the next best run that we got out of anybody was a scramble by Mason Rudolph for 12 yards, in which he once again looked more athletic than you think he is. Everybody always says Mason's that kind of statue back there, but he's worked very hard to keep himself in really good shape, and he's quicker than people think, and he seems to come up with a few of these scrambles where it looks like he doesn't have anywhere to go, and then he takes off, and you're like, wait a minute, he's not like old man Ben Roethlisberger back there. He's moderate. No, yeah, he's moderately athletic, and he's athletic enough to get out there and get you the first down with his feet.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know what else to say about. You have something else to say about running backs, right?
No, that's really it, man. Okay. Jaylen Warren did an amazing job on that. I felt like the rest of the running back room wasn't all that spectacular. But again, in this game, we didn't have a couple offensive linemen, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have Nate Herbig available in this game, and Kevin Dotson was playing with an injured shoulder. So that's your basically your two best backup interior offensive linemen. One missed the game, the other one playing with one arm. So you kind of expected the holes to not be as plentiful once the second team offensive line came in.
Yeah. Going over the wide receivers, you also want to talk about Des Fitzpatrick as a gunner.
Yes.
I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row now, right? That he's done decent work as a gunner.
He's sticking out big time on special teams, doing a great job getting after that return, man. The one specifically, there was a punt, the longest punt that Presley Harvin had of the night. It was like 52 yards. Fielded it at the 8-yard line, and he got him by the ankles right away. It was only a 2-yard return, and you think about that when a guy's 6 foot tall, there's 2 yards falling flat forward. So that's basically what it was. Is he wasn't able to get any forward momentum, and the yards gained was just from falling forward. Incredible job. He's really doing a nice job, because if there's gonna be a sixth wide receiver on this team, we kind of figure the top 5 are pretty much set in stone. You know, Miles Boykin continues to impress on special teams, and I think he's almost a shoo-in because of it.
Yep.
You got to be able to add something on special teams. You can't just be a good receiver. You need to be something on special teams, whether it be a return man or really good in the coverage units. And it's showing that Des Fitzpatrick is actually a really good in kick and punt coverage.
Yep. Tight end room. The biggest thing that I'm seeing with Darnell Washington being a massive height advantage against pretty much anyone he would go up against is he's drawing those pass interferences. I mean, we got how many extra tries down at the goal line because of the pass interference calls in the end zone. Yeah. And then the one play, they're like, we're going to take him out. This is cheating. And he tried to do it some other way. but impressive.
And then they went to Connor Hayward.
Yep. Another tight end, another quick guy.
And real quick on that too, because I didn't put Connor Hayward guys to be talking about. On that play, he did a great job. You know, it's a 5-yard bump and run. So within that first 5 yards, the DB can kind of do whatever. So he took advantage of that being something that goes both ways.
Ran him off.
And he basically drove blocked the guy and then cut back and created a lane for himself. As long as you let go of that within the first 5 yards, you're good. You're allowed to do that.
He turned into a basketball player.
Rules.
He just boxed out. That's all he had to do. He just box out the end zone and catch the ball.
Yeah, drove him forward, turn around, catch the ball right on target. Perfect. You know, so great job by him. Obviously, fantastic catch by Pat Freiermuth on the touchdown pass. It was absolute strike from Kenny Pickett over the middle. And I just wanted to point out that one of the big criticisms that people had of the offense last year is they weren't going deep and they weren't going over the middle enough. The 2 touchdown passes we have from Kenny Pickett right now are both deep over the middle. So really showing his ability to do that. And I think it also shows, hey, man, this is the same offense we had last year. It's just going to be a little bit more open, and Kenny's going to be more aggressive because he's more confident. He's a little bigger and stronger. He's got a little more mustard he's got on that ball when he's throwing it, and he knows where to go. And on this play, he threw Pat open.
Yep.
He didn't throw it right on him. He threw it in front of him and got it to the perfect spot where only Pat could get it, basically. So fantastic job by Pat to catch it, but that's what Pat does. He catches whatever you throw at him. You got to love that about him. I'm excited to see what this tight end group can do in this upcoming season.
Yeah, offensive line, Kendrick Green had a horrible snap that led to a turnover, if I'm not mistaken. That was the fumble lost by Mason.
Correct.
The starting,
and that was their first touchdown from the 1-yard line.
yeah. They had 15.7 or 6 of those, technically 7, actually. Came off of a 1-yard score, which was just crazy. But the funny part was they were talking about their average starting position all game was on their 15-yard line, and then that probably made it drastically different. But whatever. There's 45 now. But yeah, Kendrick Green played horrible again, in my opinion. The starting O-line, we talked about their block on that Jalen Warren run. They blocked phenomenal all drives that they were in, which was only, I think, 2 for the complete starting offensive.
Correct.
So it was.
Then they pulled him.
Yeah, and as you should. You don't need to see anything more from that.
You just need him healthy.
Yeah, and then Spencer Anderson, we've talked about nonstop. Where's he going to be? What's he going to play? He's playing all over the field right now, practicing in pretty much every position at this point.
Yeah, and in this game, he played at left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle. And I'm here for it. I want to see that versatility from him. That was one of the big things when we were talking about it. Here's a 7th-round offensive lineman. You don't expect much out of that. But his measurables were good. He was really athletic. He was really strong. Just didn't have super long arms, but they also weren't super short.
Yeah.
They're not Kendrick Green short. They're longer than that. So I wanted to see, hey, can he hold up? And he's holding up fine at right tackle. He's holding up fine on the interior. People aren't bulldozing him. And at center, he looks like he knows what he's doing. I want to see more at center in this final game.
We're going to.
If he can handle that, man.
There's no way
if he can handle that.
Yeah. We have to at least see it to know in game. And here's the thing. I'm not saying that about us. I'm saying the coaching staff needs to see that in game, because you can have him practice that in camp all you want. There's a difference between camp and in games, and anyone who knows anything about football or sports in general understands that, knows that. So I'm hoping to see him play center at 4 or 5 drives this game. I would love that on Thursday night to see him play center for a few drives. Defensive line, we want to talk about a couple guys there. I think just 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Anybody else that pops to mind, feel free to talk about them as well. But I thought DeMarvin Leal again represented himself very well against the run. Shows his ability to anchor and dismiss. He just seems to be really good this year at stacking and shed. Get that offensive lineman in front of you, rip him off to the side, go get the running back. I love what I'm seeing from him. I'm excited about extra reps for him this upcoming season. Keanu Benton got in the game, but not on defense. He played 5 special team snaps, which must have been either the field goal block or the field goal protect unit. I forget which one it would have been.
Yeah.
It kind of screams the field goal protect unit, since there were 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals. So that would have been 5 of them right there. So I think that's probably what it was. But he was able to at least get on the field. Hopefully he's healthy enough to play on Thursday, because I want to see him. I want to see if he can get that starting job, and I think he's tough enough to do it. So
Yeah.
excited about the potential with those two guys for sure. Seems like an exciting, all of a sudden, backup defensive line, young group there.
Yeah, absolutely. Linebacker starting off on the edge. Alex Highsmith had an impressive pass break up against Diggs where he kept with him pretty much stride for stride across the middle, which was wild. I did not expect it, but that's great to see from your starting edge that he can keep up fairly decent with a starting Pro Bowl wide receiver. He also got a sack in the game. And then the big guy, well, big girl. He's a guy, but her big. Anyways, we've talked about him off. I know it's whatever. We've talked about him off podcast and off screen and off recording a ton. But holy crap. What did you say? 40 snaps he's played?
Yeah, it's like 42 snaps, and he's got 2.5 sacks already, a forced fumble, a couple tackles for loss. Just an absolute wrecking and havoc on opposing offenses right now. And the craziest part is that he's doing a lot of this against starting offensive linemen.
Here's the thing. He's obviously not a starter. There's no way he's going to start over Alex Highsmith or TJ Watt this year, especially.
Yeah.
But an average game has what? Maybe 55 to 80 snaps for a player.
Per side.
Yeah. So if Herbig gets in half, I mean, he's easily going to average a sack a game or more.
Yeah, you figure he's probably going to see 15 to 20 snaps a game at least.
And here's the
thing.
Then
he looks good on special teams too.
100%.
Like he's really good on special teams.
100%. But he's going to be coming in fresh off the sideline. These offensive linemen are going to be tired from TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. I think there's a chance that Herbig leads this team in sacks this year just because he gets.
Stop it.
I'm calling it now, man. I tell you what, there's a chance. If it happens, James, you need to write it down somewhere. Like we need to. I don't know. There's a chance he'll be up. He'll be top 3 easy. I think he'll be. I think at the bare minimum he'll be ahead of one of the two of Highsmith or Watt. There's a chance, and then there's a chance, depending on Cam Hayward's health and everything, that he is right there with him as well. I don't see anybody else other than those 3 being ahead of him, unless Keanu Benton comes in and destroys everything.
I think I'll be surprised if Ogunjobi doesn't have a bounce back here and get at least 5 to 7 sacks. And I'll be surprised if a backup outside linebacker gets more than that. That would be like a record-breaking thing if you have a backup outside linebacker getting like 8 or 9 sacks in backup snaps. You know what I mean? Not because he gets to the point where he has to start 6 games because somebody's out injured. I'm saying if he's only playing that 15 to 20 snaps a game and gets that much, holy cow. But yeah, I think we should see our top 4 sackers being Highsmith, Watt, Hayward, and Ogunjobi.
And Herbig.
Yeah. Herbig, I don't see why he can't be number 5.
Yeah. James, we'll see what happens.
I'm not with you on number 2 and 3 here, but I think he can be number 5.
We've said this before, and I'm saying it again. James, if we hit 60 sacks this year, we're shaving our heads. Was it 50 or 60?
It's a done deal. 60.
60
has been the number,
and we haven't
been
hit
real close a bunch of times. Yeah.
55, I think, was the closest.
Close. You know what's the funny thing is that Herbig's playing so well that you're almost forgetting about the 3-time Pro Bowler on the opposite side of him right now in Marcus Golden. And Marcus Golden had a nice game in this game too. He looked very good. But when you see your rookie 4th-round pick outside linebacker taking Deion Dawkins to school, like straight up taking him to school and beating him for a strip force fumble and then beating him on another play that caused an incomplete pass. It's like over and over. He's not just beating up on backup offensive linemen. He's beating up on Pro Bowlers now.
Yep. And it's
That's
not like
why we're so excited.
Not like it's a Pro Bowler like past his prime. Like
he's still really good.
Very good. Like they arguably top 2 in the AFC, I would say. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Anyways, all right, middle linebackers. Cole Holcomb came in, had a great tip pass that led to an interception.
Yes.
That's what we want to see out of him. He's going to be our starter at this point. He's guaranteed, like, number 1 in my brain that he's going to be starting. And then you had a guy, Tanner Muse, come off the board and had a decent game with a fumble recovery as well. Who fumbled that ball?
That was on the Herbig forced fumble.
Yes, the sack.
Because he almost ended up recovering it. Yeah. Yeah, he almost ended up recovering that. He was the one that was in. And I just felt like after watching Tanner Muse in the first game, I felt like he looked really stiff out there. He wasn't moving well. He was having a tough time flipping his hips. And in the second game, I thought it was a complete reversal, that he looked very smooth in the open field. He was aggressive. He was getting hits and tackles, and he was inches away from breaking up passes on a regular. And that's great. So when it comes down to, are the Steelers going to keep 4 or 5 middle linebackers, you look at it and say Tanner Muse has a lot of ability on special teams, on punt and kick coverage.
Yep.
And I think that he helped himself immensely in this game. It's going to come down to this third preseason game, Kwiatkowski versus Muse, I think. And I'm excited for it because these guys are going to be playing their butts off to try to get that last spot on the roster.
Which is crazy because a lot of these guys could be top 3 middle linebackers on other teams. Easy.
Yeah. It's true. Kwiatkowski has like 3 years starting experience under his belt.
That's crazy. It's crazy the depth that we have at middle linebacker when you look at like 2 years ago and we're like, who the heck?
Yeah, right.
And now we're just like, hey.
Bringing in Joe Schobert and he's getting torched on every play.
And then you got Miles Jack, who just did not pan up and then went to another team and then retired.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. How about that? Him retiring in the middle of the preseason.
I think he just realized he's done. I don't know. Props to him for being. Props for him to being able to man up and say, you know what, I'm just not. Like a lot of guys could just say, hey, I'm just gonna give a half effort and ride it out for a paycheck, pretty paycheck. But he's like, nah, I'm just done.
And you got to think that it's a pretty smart move on his part to do it on his own terms too, because in about a week it wasn't going to be on his own terms.
True, he wasn't going to make the team.
If he didn't make the team, he's getting cut, and then that's how you go down. Is being cut in the preseason, your final year. That's not a great way to be remembered. So it's better to go out on your own terms. So definitely respect that. Miles Jack, I thought, was pretty good for Pittsburgh in the first half of the year last year. And then it seemed like, I think he was battling a groin injury or something, really kind of struggled later on in the season. But
let's talk corners.
Yeah. Get into the cornerback room here, man. This was a great game for our corners. And I would love to say that having a couple of nickel corners get interceptions really clarified the position group.
Made it harder.
It did. It made it more difficult. If anything, maybe it gave a little more separation between that upper group of corners on the roster versus the back end of the group.
It didn't.
No, I think it kind of did. I think that Elijah Riley having such a good game helped kind of steer people into him being in that upper group of likely to be on the 53-man roster.
Who's in the lower group?
He's great at, what's that?
Who's in the lower group?
Oh, like Luke Barku and Chris Wilcox.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
And guys like that.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying is like you got your 3, like your Levi Wallace, your Pat Pete. We got Joey Porter Jr. Those are your locks. That's what we know. James Pierce seems to probably be one that's going to make the team as well because he seems to be playing almost exclusively with that upper portion. But what's the nickel situation is what we've been trying to figure out. Is anybody going to step up? Is anybody going to be a ball hawk? Is anybody going to be stout against the run? Well, Elijah Riley is awesome on special teams, and he got an excellent interception on that tipped ball by Cole Holcomb, and he caught it in the end zone. That prevented a touchdown. So that's fantastic. And then Shandon Sullivan says, well, anything you can do, I can do better, right? And then he pulls a TJ Watt, tips the ball up in the air, dives and catches it like Troy Polamalu for an incredible interception. And you leave yourself saying, well, those are the 2 guys that we were thinking were going to be the nickel. Yeah. So why not keep them both? I don't know.
We're saying that at too many positions, James. Why not keep 6? Why not keep 7? Why not keep? We're just
going to start getting tough.
We got to stop. We got to cut people. All right, hear me out.
Yes.
We cut Presley Harvin and go for it on every 4th down.
That is not happening. Not after that performance.
No,
man.
That's true.
But also, before we get out of this cornerback room, Joey Porter Jr., I thought turned in a nice game. That interception was just excellent. Perfect form, man. Cover 2. He knew the cover 2 hole shot was coming, And instead of staying up, like is what his responsibility technically is to be that closer to the line of scrimmage, there was nobody coming into that zone. So he went with the receiver and he made an excellent interception. People saying he doesn't have ball skills don't know what they're talking about. They didn't watch him in college.
I will say this about his interception. I'm not saying it, and it's one of the things Mike Tomlin says a lot. Mike Tomlin says, make routine plays routinely. That's what he talks about. The problem with this in this situation is I felt like it was just like, not to take away from it, but it's one of the things you overlook, and I feel like I'm personally overlooking it. It just felt like a routine play. It just felt like it was a bad pass. It just felt like he was there at the right time. And in my brain, I'm like overthinking it because I'm like, okay, let's not get too excited here. But at the same time, you got to have guys on the team that play like this. I mean, this is no different than Minka getting interceptions, being in the right place at the right time, or Troy Polamalu back in the day. Granted, his sixth sense was wild. I'm worried or overthinking because it just felt too easy. The ball came right to him. The quarterback knew as soon as he threw it, it was getting picked off. You can see his face. Yep. If you watch the camera or like the view that watches the quarterback, he's like, so I don't know.
And what I think about this too is that sometimes preparation and hard work allows you to create your own luck. So something that looks like it might be kind of just good luck, right place, right time, is just as much him understanding they're in a cover two, understanding the quarterback's smart enough to see that it's cover two. And the most common thing is that cover two hole shot between the corner and the safety. So all he had to do is get a little bit better depth than normal. Now he can take it away and get the interception. And if that is a routine play that we can come to expect from Joey Porter Jr., I'm here for it, man, because we haven't had a guy that looks like that and makes interceptions look that easy in a while.
That's fair.
Maybe early Joe Hayden, when we had Joe Hayden before he started getting a little slower and older. But yeah, just to make it look that routine and that easy, I think is tremendous.
That's fair. Safety room, not a lot to say in this game. Kenny Robinson, Trenton Thompson, and Jake Elliott all got a lot of playing time.
Yeah.
I felt like, which was good. We need that to see who's going to be the next guy. But there's not a lot to say about them.
None of them made splash plays. You're right. And to me, the biggest takeaway from the safety play from that night was the fact that everybody was healthy again. Mika Fitzpatrick back on the field.
Yep.
DeMonte KZ on the field. Keanu Neal on the field. Kind of gave us a little bit of feel, too, because we were talking about what are they going to do? How are they going to deploy these guys? It kind of feels like three starting safeties. And that's what they did. When it was a nickel, KZ was the starting strong safety. When it was in the base 3-4 defense, Keanu Neal the starting strong safety. I like the approach. Yeah. That way they can both play to their strengths, which will help the team play better.
And give them
better against the run.
Give them, better energy when they come in for their kind of style. It's great.
Yeah.
Boswell,
that was my biggest takeaway.
Boswell
for president.
Always sign him up.
Boz for president.
I'll vote.
Long standing. We've done that since the year one. So don't take that as anything political if you're new.
Yeah.
It is literally just us loving our kicker.
Boz for president. It's kind of like vote for Pedro from what's that stupid?
Yeah, absolutely.
Napoleon Dynamite. It's just playful banter for us. Presley Harvin, all 5 punts downed at the 10-yard line or deeper, which was great for him.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers from this game, 38.2 yard average, but it's all about where was he placing the punts.
Yep.
Every time these guys are catching it right at the 10 or just inside the 10, and it didn't matter where he was punting from. It was like he had an absolute pinpoint razor target on the 10-yard line, and that's where it was going every time. And I just think it was a tremendous job punting by him to pin it at the 10-yard line every time, just putting the Bills in a difficult position. Yeah. You want a touchdown? Yeah, you're going to have to go 90 yards for it. Like, I love that. Great job.
Yeah. Great game from Presley Harvin. I hope to see that moving forward. On the special team side, sticking with that, Calvin Austin III had a 54-yard punt return that led to that one-play touchdown to Pat Frymuth. That was absolutely fantastic of him. Love to see the big plays 2 weeks in a row now. Granted, one was wide receiver play. This was punt return. I love it either way. And then Miles Killebrew, I almost wish he didn't. Man.
I know, right?
Because he's making a discussion about if he should be on the team again because of a partially blocked punt. 2 years ago he had 2 blocked punts in the same season. That's almost unheard of. Stop.
Put him on your squad, bro. He's making it.
No.
He's going to be your special teams captain again. Some people have knack for certain things, and it seems like maybe Miles Kilbrew just has a knack for blocking punts, and there's no way they don't keep him around if he keeps that up. That's for sure. So after this game, we had a little bit of action on the roster, a little bit of turnover. You might have noticed when watching the game that Hakeem Butler didn't get a chance to play. Looks as though he had an injury. Both him and Cody White have now been waived/injured, which means they have an injury. They're going through the waiver process. If no one claims them, then they'll revert to the injured reserve. Or the Steelers will have an opportunity to give them an injury settlement so that they're not sitting on the injured reserve.
Yeah.
So they're both gone now, unfortunately. They signed wide receiver Aaron Crickshank, smaller dude. He's like 5'6", 165 pounds or something like that. And then a linebacker by the name of Keone Dang.
No clue.
Yeah, I think middle linebacker, because they were talking about him having tackles in one season. You don't usually get that from an outside linebacker. So my guess is he's going to be your extreme depth middle linebacker for this final game.
And Crickshank is like a return specialist. That's what he was known for. In his career, kick return average in college was 23.4 yards per return. And I believe he had a short stint with the Bears, if I'm not mistaken. I almost said Browns.
Yeah, sounds right.
So I'm curious to see if they kind of put him in special teams to see what happens there. I don't know why else you'd bring him on.
It's got to be for kick return because they haven't had anybody return yet. McFarland got a little bit of burn this game and didn't do anything special on it. But your punt returner that's in stone, man. That's Calvin Austin III, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely.
What an exciting guy. Let's be honest here, man. What an exciting player. He just has that knack to be able to take a regular play and break it at any point in time. So you got to love that. One of the things that we're going to break here for you is our 3 things to look for in this final preseason game. Cody, why don't you go ahead first with your 3 since this was your idea on the topic?
Fair enough. My 3 things to look for in this last preseason game is this Kendrick Green's last game as a Pittsburgh Steeler. We've seen him have trouble with snaps in 2 games in a row now. He's been getting blown off the line of scrimmage. Are they going to try him at fullback and see what's happening, or are they committed to saying, hey, our 4th tight end and Connor Hayward, or technically he's the 3rd, I don't know how you want to look at it, he has the ability to play fullback. Do you just take advantage of his flexibility there, or try Kendrick Green out? Because we haven't seen him at all in preseason yet in that fullback position, only in practices. And then Calvin Austin, is he our big play guy now? Is he the guy that's going to pop off a 54-yard punt return and a 63-yard touchdown catch? And is he going to be the big playmaker that we wanted him to be last year, but unfortunately he was hurt all year. We never got to see it. Is he now the big play guy? And then the third thing to look for me is who wins that number 4 safety spot. We've talked about Kenny Robinson. We've talked about Trenton Thompson having a pick last week. We've talked about Jalen Elliott coming in, Miles Killebrew with these, special teams plays. Does he come in as that 4th safety, or does he actually just be a special teams specialist? He's still listed as a safety. But who do we go? Are we keeping 5 safeties? Are we doing that? I don't think we can with all the other positions. We're talking about keeping extra guys. I don't know what to do. But those are my big 3 things to look for in this last game. James, what do you got?
Yeah, so I've got 3 as well. Number 1 for battle for number 3.
Running back battle.
Running back battle. Seems like Anthony McFarland has a leg up on the competition right now. But the newly signed Xavier Valley, real quick dude. So I'm excited to see a little bit more of him in this 3rd and final preseason game. Also, we seem to be getting a little bit out of Greg Bell, too. He doesn't look awful out there.
No.
So
it's weird seeing
a little bit of a battle
number other than 26 on the Steelers.
Yeah, and he's a tall, lean dude like Le'Veon was, too, so it's kind of funny. My number 2 thing to look for is, can Mark Robinson cover? We're starting to get a little bit more clarity in this middle linebacker room. Cole Holcomb can cover. He got himself a little PBU turned into an interception for Elijah Riley. So I want to see something out of Mark Robinson in his pass coverage abilities in this game. I want to see a pass breakup or something like that. We've even seen him make some nice hits when somebody comes over the middle So I want to see a little bit more from Mark, and I want to see there be a reason for the defensive coaches to say, hey, let's get Mark out there along with Cole Holcomb on these nickel formations. My third and final thing, I want to see a long burn for Spencer Anderson at center in this final preseason game. Now, that's assuming that we don't have Nate Herbig healthy. If Nate is healthy, then I want to make sure that Nate gets some snaps because he looks likely to be the number 2 center in this situation. But if Nate's shoulder's still jacked up, man, I want to see Spencer Anderson get a good 2 or 3 drives and long ones at that. I want to see him have to make some calls.
Yep.
I want to see 2 people, one on either side, and him have to figure out who's going to block who and then have it get blocked up correctly.
Yep.
I want to see these kinds of things to see, is there something there? I like the potential in this kid, and I think the lack of length is going to make his best home be interior, whether it's a guard position or a center position, and I think that center position might be his home in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are listening or watching this and you have 3 things that you want us to look for, or even one thing, just want to share one thing, feel free to message us on social media, comment on the video, even email us if that's how your preferred method of communication. Any way you guys want to talk to us, we would love to hear from you. We can't thank you guys enough for listening. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe and ring the bell. It's free. Don't forget those 5-star reviews for James on Apple Podcasts. Until next time, this is your host, James and Cody, signing off.
Peace.